Good morning. So unfortunately, sorry, I'm trying to get organized. I was gone and everything was shut down and rearranged. My camera's in the wrong place. Unfortunately, we were snowed in. We came home briefly for a respite to do some stuff, check on the house, and then leave again. And we got snowed in for 2 days. So we delayed our trip 2 days. Therefore, I got home late and unfortunately didn't have a way to communicate with you guys. So I missed the last Joth session. So I want to apologize to everybody, but hopefully it went well. So today, my goal is to get started on my. You can see I've already started this morning on my Simba Room prep for the next time I am GMing Simba Room. Again, I don't know when that's going to happen or who's up next or what's on deck. I will check into Discord and get up to speed on our schedule and what's going on, including scheduling Dark Age of Man, because I am so ready to not only resume playing, of course, and GMing, but definitely get back to Dark Age of Man. It's just we missed all of December basically, so I'm looking forward to that. I hope everybody had a great holiday. I'm not going to do the obligatory 2023 what's upcoming new year. I will say this: um, I am hoping this year we're able to finish Dark Age of Man, the book. But again, we've not been in a hurry. We've never been in a hurry. Um, so we're not going to rush it. We're not going to force it. We're going to take our time, and it'll be available when it's available. Hopefully before I'm a dead man. Hopefully before I drop dead, and then I'll have to make sure. Right, I'll have to make sure we have all the legal stuff in place. So when I die, Dell gets it all. Right, Dell inherits the book and the rights and the right. Anyway, it's the crazy thing, right? Is what happened if I died coming over the mountain pass in the snow, right? Dell would have went, dude. What did I do with this book? Nah, yeah, it would have been no problem. Anyway, so, but I wanted to mention before I left, I had been preparing to take pen and paper football and dead ball with me. And again, I want to talk about what's really cool about role-playing authors, role-playing game authors and game designers that also create sports games. Number one, they're very good. They're very well written. And they are in a book form, right? Which is brilliant because most tabletop sports games are board games, right? They have a board, they have dice, they have charts, they have books, they have cards, they have teams. And so what's really cool about Pen and Paper Football by John M. Stater and W.M. Akers Dead Ball games is they're in a book, and they can be grabbed and read and taken with you, and they can be put on your bookshelf. And the footprint only grows as large as you really need it to be based on notebooks, pencils, paper, but you only dice generally, right? But the point is, I also perused Drive Through RPG before I left and looking for other sports games on Drive Through RPG, other sports games that are not traditional, right? That are book driven. And before I left, I came across Contenders, which is a boxing role playing game that won the Ronnie Award a couple of years ago, I guess. I don't know exactly what the date, and I don't know, but Ron Edwards Award for best independent role playing game or best new role playing. I have no idea exactly what award it was, but the point is, it had a couple of things to recommend it to me. One, written by it's a role playing game, GM less role playing game. GMless also indicates that I could do this solo, right? If I couldn't find a group of people who wanted to do a GMless boxing role-playing game. But that recommends it to me highly, right? That it would be a very clever way to do a boxing game solo. Two, it actually has a boxing engine, right? Three, it's won the Ronnie Award, which is that in and of itself recommends it highly, right? As a role-playing game that's unique and different. And clearly falls into a category of sport, which is and my favorite sport is indeed boxing. So there's so much to recommend Contenders to me. And then it uses not dice but playing cards, deck of playing cards, and so that is very cool. I love the idea of using a deck of cards, shuffling that deck of cards, dealing them out to the players, or however it works. I don't even know how it works. I haven't read it yet. And of course, it looks like a simple character generation. It is scene driven. There are four attributes that actually score you. Hope, pain, reputation, and cash. And damn, talking about it gets me hyped up. Right? You make a boxer, and then you have to earn cash. You're gonna have to have hope. You're gonna suffer pain, and you're gonna have a reputation. So this just sounds amazing. I'm gonna, of course, read it and try it solitaire first, and then I will then review it and I will try to share the game engine and somehow the game works, Solitaire, here on the channel. So be aware I'm going to do this thing, right? And I'm actually going to play the game Solitaire on the channel, at least a fight or at least how a scene works. So that's going to be great fun. And I might even be able to sucker the guys into playing a little one night of Contenders boxing. I don't know we can do the whole, because Contenders implies you start with a particular goal, and your goal by the end of your career is, did you achieve it? Did you not achieve it? If you did, what happened? So I don't think we could play it in one night, but we could certainly try it in one night if the guys were ever interested in something like this. But anyway, it's called Contenders. You can get it on Drive-Thru RPG, print on demand, only $7.99. So it's priced right. It's a point and click away. If you're remotely interested in sports games, and certainly in a sports role-playing game, very, very cool. The boxing mechanism, I read anyway in the description and the reviews that the boxing is brutal and very good. So I'm excited. I'm pumped. It's going to be very cool. I'm a huge film fan. I've talked about this before. Coinciding in college with my major, I took film classes, but not as a minor. I didn't collect enough to say I had a minor in film, but I took every film class I could get. And I love film. I'm a big film buff, and I love old black and white movies. As I've aged over the course of the last 25, 30 years, old black and white films dominate what I watch and what I do with film mostly. But my point is, it harkens to some of the greatest boxing films ever made. On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando, Body and Soul with John, John Garfield. Brilliant film, masterpiece. On the Waterfront is a masterpiece. Won the Oscar. Marlon Brando was amazing in it. And then, of course, films like Somebody Up There Likes Me, based on the true story book written by Rocky Graziano about his career as a fighter. And Raging Bull, of course, modern as of 1980 or whatever, but shot in black and white. Raging Bull with Robert De Niro, based on, I think, Rocky. That might have been Rocky Graziano as well. That may have been almost a remake of Someone Up There Likes Me. I can't remember. And then, of course, Rocky. Everyone knows Rocky. Rocky's become kind of a parody and kind of a satire, kind of a joke of itself because it's so big and it turned into something. But if you've seen the original Rocky, it won the Oscar, and there's a reason for it, that it was a legitimate boxing film. And what made Rocky amazing was he didn't win the fight, right? If you were to ask most people, do you realize Rocky did not win the fight in the first film? He survived to the end. He didn't win it. It was a moral victory. He survived. He made it to the end against the heavyweight champ. But those are great films, and all of them are about characters. They're about people. They're about events. They're about, Body and Soul. His only way out of the ghetto is to fight. And in Body and Soul, he becomes basically overtaken by the idea of money. He gets involved with a manager that's mob based and makes him a rich boxer, but then at some point demands that he take a dive. Brilliant. On the Waterfront, same thing, right? It's about a down and out ex-boxer who's involved with the dock workers union, but the union is overrun by the mob, and no one will fight the mob. And his career is over. So On the Waterfront, there is no boxing. He's not boxing any longer. He's a has-been. He's washed up, and he's only 28 years old or something, right? Brilliant film, a true masterpiece in cinema. And then, of course, the other films, Raging Bull and Someone Up There Likes Me, they're basically biopics of real boxers. If I can remember, I can't remember. I've seen Raging Bull one time. I was 10 years old, 11 years old, which is sad because it was a great film. But I can't recall whether it was Rocky Marciano or Rocky Graziano. But the point is, a role-playing game that asks you to endeavor to be this kind of era of character, boxer in these kind of worlds and circumstances, and you set scenes. You have to train. You have to negotiate the goals of life, and you have to try to, of course, win fights. And you have all of these. I think there's about 6 to 8 scenes that you work through, and everybody at the table has a boxer trying to do the same, and you are required to be the NPCs for the other players when they call up a scene that they're meeting with their manager about training, and they're going to do their training parts. Well, I might be the trainer, and Steve might be the sparring partner, and right, and Karen might play his girlfriend, right, his fiance, right, and then when my kickboxer comes around, Dell's playing my manager, right? So very clever, and so I can't wait to at least try this thing solo. But I've never played a group role-playing game. I've never played, really, I don't play GM-less role-playing games. I own a couple, but I've never played them. I mean, I've played the solitaire dungeon crawl 4 Against Darkness, which is great fun, but I treated that almost more like a board game. So this would be very interesting. So I wanted to share this because it's something I'm thinking about for 2023, right? As we again try to get our book done for Dark Age of Man, what makes our game unique, what makes our game not unique, what makes our game worth investing in your time and your money, for us as well as for potential people who would potentially be interested in it. And as you reach out and see how did other game designers do this stuff, because I've written many tabletop sports games, I've published them, or I've made them available to the public for all intents and purposes, dice and charts, etc. Pretty traditional, right? Sports games. So very cool to see something like this. So anyway, I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to continuing to do, when I have time, some of the sports stuff on my channel. I'm looking forward to trying to share Dead Ball, at least a game of Dead Ball on this channel. And I would like to maybe do a full simulation of pen and paper football on this channel. Not the full game, but I'd probably do a quarter and teach, show people how this works and teach people how pen and paper football's full sim works. It's not complicated, but there are no charts in the book. Everything is written, and so the game would be much easier if there were charts in the book. So ultimately, I'm going to make charts, and then I'm going to print charts out, and then I can sit and play pen and paper football with the charts in front of me. It'll help me do a tutorial on pen and paper football's full sim. So I want to do that. Those are some things I'm hoping to get done in the next month or so. And then, of course, at some point, we will again get back to traditional. I'm gonna fall back into some kind of schedule. It's been just crazy, but in a good way, crazy. So anyway, I hope everybody had a great New Year, safe New Year, and I'm ready to rock and roll. And I hope everybody else out there is as well. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.